It's time.
Welcome to Date with DANU right here on Hi TV, your luxury channel. Today we are in for a great show with a pair that looks absolutely gorgeous. Let's get on with the show.
Hi, my name is Prashan De Visser. I serve as the President of the United Centenary Front.
And I am Nayana Karunaratne, Executive Council Member.
Today we're here to talk on Date with Danu. Usually it's a fun entertainment show, but today we're talking serious business about the political context of Sri Lanka and the future of our country.
Definitely the future of our country that should go to the young, talented, educated and honest people.
And welcome to the show. We are talking about a new generation of politics and also the people who support this new vision. That brings in Nayana, because I said new generation. I'm happy to have Prashan De Visser, Heshanka, right?
Fernando.
Heshanka Fernando and Nayana. Thank you for being here on the show. To start things off, would you take up the title as a politician now?
First of all, Danu, thanks for having us on the show. Yes, I think we finally had to take that step of saying we created a new political party and we're looking to contest, not at this presidential election, it's already a circus of 40 or 38 candidates, but we are contesting for the general election and we're intended to contend across the nation.
Hesh, coming from a business background and also at a point of risking it all, having a label called politician is like getting cancer. You can go through chemo, but you can never come out of it.
I would just like to add to what Prashan said. I think internally we like to consider ourselves the anti-politics political party. Just to give you some background on how I got involved into all of this. My story started in 2008 when I joined the workforce, and the war ended in 2009, and we were all looking forward to what post-war Sri Lanka was going to be like. My parents' generation, I think Nayana's generation, had to spend their entire economic life with the war in the background, and all their growth prospects were, I think, shunted because of that. And there was so much of hope, and we all know how that turned out. It went from hope to despair. And then again in 2015, we saw this uprising again, and we thought, okay, now this time it's going to be different. And again, we are back to square one. So then when you look back at Sri Lanka's history since independence, you can see that this cycle of hope and despair has just been recurring over and over again. And you can't change this system. There is too much of entropy in it. You need to create a new system with new people, with new values. So that's when I connected with Prashan, and I think everyone knows Prashan has that reality distortion field. And I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the best people in the world, and I would put Prashan up there as well. So through Prashan, I saw there was hope. I saw there was hope for another Sri Lanka and people who are dedicating their life to Sri Lanka. And I think we all need to do whatever we can to support that.
In terms of this so-called new Sri Lanka that generations have spoken about, which is an unfortunate tagline, you know, we never achieve it, we always speak about it. And every campaign that has led to each election in our country, it could be general or presidential or even Pradeshia, people have spoken about the mistakes that have been done in the past. And that's it. We have never spoken about a solution that could be brought forward, which could cover and sort of edit the mistakes that were done. Do you think the centenary movement has what it takes to edit and rewrite the mistakes that have been done by generations of politicians?
I think it's worth fighting for, it's worth trying, in the sense of the United Centenary Front now as a political party we have 4 key attributes that we said we're going to gauge our effectiveness by. Number one, there needs to be a clarity of vision. It's pointless talking about what's wrong with society and what's been wrong about 76 years. What's your vision? And how are you able to accomplish that vision with the right team? And that's the second one, competence. People who are competent, not just academically, but professionally, who have accomplished things to show that they have executive leadership, they have an ability to deliver on promises, and they know how to ensure that they're on the right track with the perfect timeline. Thirdly, we see we need to have people who have compassion. You need to actually feel the pain of the common man. You can't just say, yes, poverty is now twice as what it was 2 years ago, what to do, I did my best. No, you have to feel the pain and have the urgency to respond. And the final thing for us is, along with that, is character. People of character, of integrity, who won't give in, saying this is politics, this is how it's always been done, you have to play in the gray area, you have to make some compromises, and before you know what, you can't even recognize who you are. So these 4 C's is the founding rock of how we build our movement. And if we have these things right and we don't change, we are held accountable to this, I really believe we can bring about change. Sri Lanka deserves better. Sri Lanka can accomplish great things, but it's because political established parties who've been around for decades, they don't have these 4 things consistently. As a result, they've failed.
If you're wondering why I brought in Nayana, is because she has been a great support to the centenary movement. Have you ever had a vision of entering politics?
Never, no. I think I have the mouth for it, but no, not at all. But I really want to support this program. I know I'm too old for this, and I belong to them. They belong to my children's generation, but I really believe in them because I've also seen them working, the qualities they have. Because this country, as Prashan says, we need honest people, we need educated people, and we need people with a vision. So I really want to support them, and I really think we have a good future if this kind of leaders come forward. There's no question about that. That's all we need, and be consistent and stick to your policies. It's not difficult at all to bring this country back into its position, because with the politicians, DANU, all the people have also got corrupted. People are corrupt, people have no vision, they find the easy way out. They are as bad as the politicians. People are scolding the politicians, they are equally bad. So we need to train them, we need to bring them back. There should be the discipline, there should be the commitment, the system, consistency, and it's easy to do that because I know you people did that with your movement before. It was possible, and we are Sri Lankan. That is very important because I have seen it through. We've seen the civil wars, we've seen all the miseries, and we've seen the ethnic issues, we have seen that. So all that has to stop because we've always come forward 15 years, go back 10 years, come forward another 15 years, go back 10 years. So we have to stop that. And I think these people, if they remain consistent, they will achieve it.
Now, talking about the country seeing a lot of things, I think you have been not so fortunate to see the 83 uprise, 89, the riots that we went through, then the war, then followed by what happened with the current recent situations of the bomb, the corruptions, the unsolved mysteries of murder and all of this. Nana, you have seen it all, and you would have definitely seen people saying, okay, let's vote for this. I'm sure there's a change that's going to come. Let's vote for this. I'm sure there's going to be a change that's going to come. We have seen these conversations being discussed in our home fronts from our parents' time, grandparents' times. Do you feel the system, the way it has been set, is stronger than the people with the vision? Or do you think the people with the vision could change the very established system?
Danu, I've seen 71 riots as well. I was 12 or 13 years old when that happened, and I've seen the misery, though we were not directly affected. So then 83, as you say, then 89, 83 I was pregnant with my second child, 89 my kids were small. It's unbelievable, the misery, but I sometimes don't know how we have come to where we are today. But still, fortunately, there is no animosity, there is no anger, and I love the Sri Lankans because at every incident from 71 to 83 to 89, we were together as a country. There were the Tamils on this side, the Muslims on this side, the Burghers inside. We all got on well. country was on fire. So I always had hopes. I still have hope. So, and I have also seen during my lifetime some good people came into politics. Good, honest, educated people came into politics.
Have they remained the same?
They did not remain the same. They did not remain the same. So that is what I am pushing for, hoping for, praying for and working for, that this group will remain the same, because the major plus point they have is that they are very educated. So, and people are complaining about the members of the parliament. We appointed them. With all our miseries, this country has had very democratic elections. We have had a free vote and we appointed all of these people. So we still have a chance of changing them also.
Let's get into a break. We'll come back and speak about the current stand as the centenary movement didn't have a candidate for the presidential election. Why and what would be the state of our country, considering the fact that the polls are saying we might have a very different political leadership when we do come back to this speaking. Thank you to our friends at MasterCard for joining us on Date with DANU. You can now enjoy this very convenient way of shopping and living life. Just tap and go. More details on all their amazing promotions and deals when you do check out their social handles. Thanks for being with us on Date with DANU. Welcome back to the show. Sometimes I sit and wonder why people in my timeline of age, with very prosperous futures ahead of them, with lives that they can live, wearing the brands they'd like to wear, eating at restaurants that they'd like to eat at, living the life that they want to, sacrifice all of that and get into this pit hole called politics. People do see it from the outside and think politics gives you a lot of power and everything, but it also gives you a lot of hate, a lot of depression. There's never going to be a comment where you can be the best in the lot, but you're never going to be appreciated, because that is where you are, unfortunately. The majority has wounded it so much, there's no hope in this arena. But with over 70 odd political parties in Sri Lanka, we are always in short of good people to represent our needs in the parliament. Now, Centenary Movement has come forward with no candidate for the presidential election. Was that a decision that you all made, or you all had people who you all thought could have been in the race and you all didn't want to put them across?
So first of all, we looked at the trajectory as a brand new political party and a new group of people entering into the sphere. You're not going to win at a presidential election. At the end of the day, the presidential election is between two candidates, maybe like this time, three candidates. And at the same time, the government has to spend around 200 million rupees for each candidate. It's a waste of national resources just to go there. Sometimes just get yourself out there, become known. You don't want to waste money to become known in that sense. And at the same time, the best place to really enter into the political arena is at parliamentary elections and at provincial council elections and Pradesh Sabha. And so we feel from now onwards, at the general election onwards, we're going to contest, like I said, nationwide. We've got some incredible candidates who don't have blood on their hands, no corruption, people who have been leaders in the corporate world, some were leaders in academia, leaders in the non-profit world, is coming together and saying we want to serve. So this was the time for us to come forward. But at the same time, during the presidential election, we are doing our presidential town halls, where we've invited maybe the top 5 or 8 candidates. And they have said yes to us, most of them have. And they've come, spent about an hour and a half with us. We've given them 17 challenges of what we demand of them. And some have agreed to all of them, some have agreed to some of them, but we've been able to have an intelligent conversation and trying to help the public understand that we need to make an intelligent decision and not an emotional decision. throughout the years, when you look at presidential elections, people have created like this wave, or then saying the rallak. You create that without intelligent dialogue or discussion, just because you feel like it. It's an emotional reaction. And as a result, we are where we are at today. So how do you make an intelligent decision? So we've tried to live that out through our presidential town halls. We believe in the next few days we might have the president come in. We've had the opposition leader. We've had multiple, almost 5 or 6 candidates come through. And we want to have those conversations. But then we will decide and do an analysis of who we would recommend would be our first, second, and third options for our members across the country.
Now, as the leader of the centenary movement, I want to ask you, what would you say will be the ideal setting for the presidential seat to be filled by whom? We have a few people who are in the running, and the ones who have been spoken about are SJB. We also have the president, and also we have the Anura as well as the candidates who have been highlighted as the candidates who might go through. What would you say is the ideal setting for our country to have as the president for the next 5 years?
So first of all, we are going to be having a press conference very soon, where once we've interviewed all the candidates, the main candidates, we're going to make an announcement. So I'll refrain from saying that right now. But we have some ways to make an intelligent decision. Number one is you have to look at the track record of that leader. Now, if you look at all these 3 candidates you mentioned, they've been in politics for 25 plus years, the president for over 4 decades. So you have plenty of data to go through. What kind of a leader are they? Have they delivered? Have they been honest? Have they been transparent? Have they endorsed violence? Have they been part of racist movements in this country? Have they protected criminals? And unfortunately, it's scary that a lot of these people do have that kind of history. So you ask their track record. Secondly, what have they accomplished? Like if you've been a politician for like 20 plus years, that's like over 8,000 days of a full-time politician. What have you done? What are the bills that you brought to Parliament that have changed the lives of people? What are the court cases that you've taken when there has been a violation of the rights of people? Have you won any cases? Have you helped bring perpetrators to justice? At the same time, thirdly, we want to evaluate what's their vision for the country. Is their manifesto actually plausible? Or is it just fool's promises that anyone will buy now but know that it will never be delivered? Is there an ability to deliver on a very meaningful manifesto? What the country needs right now. We can't play around here. We need to know exactly how we're going to do it. Is it possible? But finally, it's the team. Do you have intelligent, competent, educated, and honest people around you who can deliver? Because no one man or woman can lead this country alone. They need to have an amazing team. So to look at these teams. Are these people who have accomplished anything in life? Are they people who have delivered before? If you look at our team, our executive council, not only are every one of them extremely educated, but they've succeeded professionally. We've got people like Heshanka, who's like started brand new companies, Nayana, who has created so many jobs and so much industry. People who have delivered, not at least have the management and the vision to bring about results.
But considering the current state where our country is right now, thinking of you as a citizen of this country, who would you feel will fit the president's role best?
We will tell that very soon at our press conference coming in 4 days, because I don't think it's fair for the 2 interviews we have to make a statement before that. I know this might air after that, but we have to refrain from that because they would not come for the interview if we don't have a fair play for them.
Okay. Hesh, talk about your brand that you created in our country, and do you feel that experience could reflect in your newfound political path?
Sure, Danu. So I founded a digital health company in Sri Lanka, and it was a startup. We've got funding from all across the world. The Sri Lankan startup ecosystem is very nascent, so I got to experience what it's like to build a business from scratch. I think for me, the highlight of the startup was that when COVID happened, we managed to have a CSR project with the government where we were able to give every single citizen access to digital healthcare for free. Yes, I did gain a lot of expertise and experience from that, but when it comes to managing a country, it's completely different expertise and experience that you need. So there's some sort of transfer of skills, but then again, you need to be able to study, you need to be able to learn from other people more experience, and you need to have advisors also in that specific field.
Right. We'll speak more when we do come back to Sri Lanka. Finding clothes can be a tough challenge because I've been on a diet for the longest time and the diet seems to be failing me, not that I'm failing the diet. So if you're someone like me trying to find a shirt has become a nightmare, well, you have nothing to worry because at Shirtworks they will make it the way you want with customized detailing and also the fabric that they have. ED's array, so perfect for the weather that we have in Sri Lanka. It's breathable fabric, making it so much more easy on us. Now check them out for a perfectly crafted shirt in just 7 days. Shirtworks. Thank you for joining us on Date with DANU. Welcome back to the show. It's a date with DANU, and I wanted to speak about why would you say people should give the centenary movement a chance?
Well, once again, the party's name is United Centenary Front, and where we have like 10 indicators that we've said make us different from everybody else. One of these things is that we have been promoting and advocating for the last few years a public declaration of assets. And through the standard that the Transparency International Sri Lanka has shared, is not just a candidate, their family, their extended family, their business associate to a certain extent, of you sharing that. So now, by law, these candidates need to declare, but still there are so many things that are deducted. And we're saying our plan is not to deduct. And not just do it at the beginning of the election, you have to do it every year so that people know that you haven't made any money from public funds.
But then when you say you got everything as gifts, what are you to do?
You have to claim that. You have to show who gave gifts and that they haven't got any favors for the gifts that they gave you. They haven't got. That's the dangerous thing. Some of these parties are saying they got their belts and shirts from different people and their friends, or they got money from this. But the danger is they need to be declared. Who are these people? And then make sure that they don't get special favors when it comes to government contracts and so on. Second thing is that we as a party are the only party that have committed to declare our campaign finance publicly. Every quarter. Hesh is our treasurer. Every quarter, if you go on our website, you can see who gave us money and how we've spent it. And that's very important because now, who is giving all this money? These average posters and banners and billboards are bad enough. The amount they spend on social media, the amount they spend at these events, each major rally is about 7 or 10 million at least. And we don't even know how much they're spending on buses because most of the time it's not the people in that area. All these parties are busing people from all over the country just to show a big crowd. So where are they getting that money? Now, according to the law, they will only declare it 23 days after the election. And by then, you can't do anything about it for the most part. If the person is president, you can't. So that's something that's very different for us. Every quarter, we do that. Thirdly, we're going to verify the qualifications of every nominee that we have. They're academic, they're professional, and whatever qualifications. And then also go through a political academy so that they understand the policies and what we stand for and not make stuff up as it goes along. Another thing I think Hesh can help me along as well. We have 10 areas like this that make us very different to other parties. We also have the right to recall. Let's say you ran for office, they voted for you. And then 2 years into it, you're a changed person. You're now doing exactly the opposite of what they wanted. In fact, maybe you've joined another party or you crossed over. The right to recall in our party is that we will make sure that you lose your seat. And the people have the right to say, this person no longer represents our values and our vision, and we want the right to recall. Even though it's not in the Constitution as a whole, as our party, when we're giving nominations, we want to have that agreement with every nominee. So there are many things that we feel those are stepping stones to change the political culture. And at the same time, we're giving a very clear vision of what we want to accomplish, how we can accomplish it, who are the people who are there, who are competent to do it, so that you can track it. Each month you can track how we are doing and hold us accountable. Because right now, people are making all sorts of promises with no intention of keeping those promises. But people need to have a better mechanism to hold people accountable. So those are things that we're trying to introduce and actually implement and live it out so that we can be different from the rest. And I can assure you there's nobody in our party that has ever endorsed violence or have bloodshed or corruption or any sort of scandals. We have ensured these, and we've never endorsed a regime that has been corrupt either. And we want to find that kind of people. And we know there are people like that at home. Stop watching and cursing the darkness and start lighting a light, lighting a candle. Come and join. We want you to be part of it. You can get nominations here. And if you're the right kind of person, we want you to join us. This is not a person-driven political party. We have a strong executive committee of 18 members. And another thing that's very different about us is 50% of our leadership is women. 50% of our nominees are women. 40% of our nominees are under the age of 35. And we didn't have to fight hard to do that. We have competent women and competent young people. And we're not just going to make excuses. We'll walk the talk. And if you're out there and you want to get involved, come, let's change this country. None of these people have been in politics for over 40 years. If they couldn't do it then, they're not going to do it now. Let's be the change.
Danu,
Yeah, I was going to come to you. As to why take up politics is a question I asked. I would like to see your answer to it.
So, Danu, in Sri Lanka, politics has gotten a really bad name. They say it's the last refuge of the scoundrel. And what that's done is that we've had the worst of a generation lead us. And look at where we've ended up. So I think it's up to all of us who have some privilege. I think everyone watching this show is privileged to an extent. You're English speaking, you have time for recreation, you have a free mind for recreation. And it's on all of us to help change the situation for people who cannot do this. Because the only reason that why we are here is because we won the lottery of birth. And it's like, for me personally, the meaning of life is to live a life of meaning, and I don't think there's any better way to do that by helping our fellow man and woman. So that's my personal why. I also have 2 kids. They are 10 and 8, and I would love for them to grow up and be proud of Sri Lanka. And in the way it's going right now, the answer for that is definitely in the negative. So that's the personal reasons why I've got into politics.
Something that was very interesting, and I said we are the ones who put them into where they are right now. Where do we think we fail every single time? Because even though there was an uprising, there was a Aragalaya, and we changed the way the political landscape was being run, we feel like most of us have forgotten that, and we are willing to go back in time and sort of just see what we can get as a temporary fix for our lives. Where do you think this always just goes wrong? Is it the fact that we have a set of people who are just waiting for a quick fix and that temporary amount of money or something that they can get a bribe, or is it that they just can't be bothered, they're just living for the day?
Actually, it's a very sad situation, because compared to many other countries, we are quite literate. We know people read newspapers, they understand. But I think we are a bit of a beggar nation. We are used to getting things for free, and our parents also guide us to get everything for free. We study for free. We were born free in free hospitals. So that culture has actually ruined us. So we are always looking for short-term, quick fixes. So when it comes to an election, I think people talk very sensibly. They understand what's happening. They understand who the people are that they would be voting for. But I think they get carried away for very simple things like a 5,000 rupees. I don't know what is offered, a packet of rice, or I don't know what. But quick fixes, and they are pretty selfish as well. I will help this MP and I can put my children into a good school, and so very, very short term, but they don't look at the big picture. And I think as a nation we are pretty lazy also, Danu.
But where should that education begin? About educating the people, about thinking about not today, not tomorrow, but the future, and like making them responsible for that single vote that they will put.
I think as from an advisory point of view, I have told these young men also that's a dire need in this country. The citizens of this country have to be educated. We've lost our dignity, we have lost our commitment and duty, the feelings we have, because I am a product of pre-83. Right, so we were young people, married, had a good life. So I know the way we were brought up, ordinary, middle class, simple people, and that upbringing was never there post 83, because the parents had no time for any of those things. They had only survival was the main requirement. So I think that this is really the repercussions of the war. So people have no values. People have no values. They say they love the country, but I don't think they understand. Slightest thing, everybody is trying to run away. And the people who are going abroad, my heart breaks, because they go and do all the dirty jobs like washing bathrooms or sweeping the roads in other countries. And they work for 6 hours, 10 hours a day in other countries. They don't work even for 4 hours for 5 days in this country. So we have to educate our people and give them back teach them to their dignity, the respect and the love for the country. And I really have hopes about this country, because as I told you, I've gone through 71, 83, 89, 2000, but still we as a nation, we as a neighborhood always stood together. The Sinhalese and the Tamil and the Muslim and the Burghers, we always stood together. So that's the Sri Lankan nation. So we always have hope if we can get guided by proper leaders.
All right, time for a break. We'll see you right after. Thank you to our friends at Petals. We've got a little bit of an interesting touch this time around. You can now check out their amazing collection of flowers down at Pentrive Gardens in Colombo 3, where you get a chance to choose the bouquet that you want. It could be your special occasion, it could be your wedding, it could be whatever. You can now get it personalized and done the way you want to. Hasa is the man behind the amazing work and the craftsmanship that you see. Visit them today for more details. Thank you for joining us on Take With Them. Welcome back to the show. The wave in the society or the conversation amongst closed doors are the fact that, we have always wanted to change. We don't want the usual faces who are there either running for the presidential election. Maybe we should think different and think of a new person who can lead our country. Now, this particular statement obviously highlights the chances of AKD coming in as the president of our country. What are the viewpoints, and do you think this should be something that should be alarming or not?
Well, first of all, you have to give everybody a fair chance, and unfortunately we've invited the MPP, especially AKD, to come for our interviews, but they have so far not responded to us. We've tried multiple times. But there are a few things that we need to ask. For me, one of the concerns is, what exactly is the ideology? We don't know whether you're far left, because technically it's a Marxist-leftist party, Marxist-Leninist party. Now they're saying they're central left. We have no idea where they really are. Then you have the MPP, then you also have the JVP. Who's actually running the show? There is no clarity on that. What's the exact vision for the country in the sense of how would you govern? The manifesto shares some good things, but at the same time, about the IMF deal, these people were against the IMF deal about a year and a half ago. Now they're for it, but again, they're going to make some changes that could be drastic and could be fatalistic to the economy as well. So there's a lot of things that you need to ask the question, but the problem is Sri Lankans haven't voted for something in a long time. We've voted against something. So it's an emotional reaction. So last time, after the Easter Sunday bombing, it was against a regime that couldn't keep us safe. You need a strong hero, you need a warrior, and they went for this guy, didn't ask the questions. Was he competent? Was he capable? Was he surrounding himself with the right people? No questions asked, and we're suffering today. And then This time around, it's like, okay, we need to get back at the thieves. We need to put them behind bars. We need to get the money back. So they kept on saying that simplistic story, and the anger and the vengeance of a society was manipulated towards political gain. Now, we don't know if they have a dominance or whether it's a fake dominance. It's hard. Some of the polls are hard to read, whether it's actually accurate. But that's concerning. The people need to ask the questions. Don't go for emotional vote. Ask the questions. Are they truly competent? Do they have the right team? What about the things of the past? If you were fine with violence and taking up arms against the state, I know it's a long time ago, but if you were okay with that then, will you be okay with that now? Have you totally changed? Only one person has asked for forgiveness or has remorse, and that's the AKD. But the others in the party have never declared any remorse for violence and the bloodshed. Nearly 70,000 young men and women died. 6,000 that belonged to them and 70,000 others, altogether 70,000. What's the remorse there? Have you learned from your mistakes? There are too many question marks for me. And I feel before you just give in to an emotional wave, ask the questions. And that's what I wish. Even now, we hope that they would talk to us to have a real honest dialogue. A lot of these things, you can't flip-flop. Like every key issue of this country, they have flip-flopped on. They're saying almost, I'll say anything to get elected now. Yeah, we are for the 13th Amendment. We were not for it a year ago. We are for IMF, economic policy, private schools, privatizing state industries that are not really functioning well. Every issue, they were against it before they were for it. Are you for it because you truly believe it, or you think that's what you need to say to get elected? So those are very strong concerns. And then finally, the competence of a team. What have these people done? Have they led industries? Have they led initiatives that show their ability? And the question is, even from the candidate himself, being a career politician from the age of 18 till now, never run a business, never have any sort of leadership experience at a larger scale. So it's a little concerning that our emotions may consistently say, well, we just go ahead and we've tried the rest. Some people say, deal balloon. That's a dangerous, that's not an intelligent
mindset
statement.
to have.
It's like, things can get worse. People say, how worse can it get? We're already a bankrupt nation. Well, it can get far, far worse. So ask questions and then make whatever decision works with your conscience.
Now, everyone has submitted the changes and the type of promises that they'd like to give to Sri Lanka. Out of all what you all have read in terms of the presidential candidates, at least the ones who are in the spotlight, who do you think has the right manifesto that will add some kind of light to Sri Lanka, at least in the hope of we going and making that vote?
I think we need to wait for interviews with the presidential candidates to complete. We're asking them questions on their manifesto, some clarifications, and straight after that we'll be able to give an answer.
Because we, as a country, we have never kept anyone accountable for the manifestos that they have provided. Because if all of those manifestos have been implemented, we would have had like such a beautiful country.
So if you take a nation, I think you can look at it at the infrastructure, which is self-explanatory. Then you have the structure, which is all your government institutions, your policy. And on top of that, you have the superstructure, which is the values, the cultural identity, how we want to go forward as a nation. I think more important than the infrastructure and the structure is the superstructure. And these manifestos only address the other two. What we need to look at is, okay, what does this party stand for? What are their values? Have they lived by their values all these years? And a manifesto, as you said, it most probably doesn't get implemented, but what you know is the values will carry through. So I think that would be the right way for us to look at this.
Now, throughout the whole point of starting a party is not exactly an easy thing. So were you all able to buy an existing party and then convert it under this new name, or how did that work?
So basically, it takes about 3 to 5 years to establish yourself and get registered as a political party. We have fulfilled all the requirements in regards to having audited accounts, having a constitution, having a policy framework, being politically active, getting media coverage for our party and our policies. So we've accomplished all that. But unfortunately, we knew when it comes to election year, which is this year, the Election Commission will bring the excuse of when there is an election going on, we can't issue new parties. So because of that, we have created a partnership with some parties saying, hey, if we don't get our own thing, we want to be able to have a memorandum of understanding with you and run with you. So we do have that party, and we're going to run with that. This party has our values, but everybody in the executive committee is beyond the retirement age, and they're looking for a younger generation. And luckily for us, we started engaging them 2 years ago. So we have an official vehicle. They've given us some leadership responsibilities in the party, and they said, "You all are the future. You run with this. We no longer have gas in the tank to run."
So, are these people active politicians? No.
They have a political party. They've tried to run for office. They have not really accomplished their goals in the past, but they see in us the ability to accomplish that. And they knew 2 years ago, they said, "You all may not get the registration in time. They'll give you an excuse. But if that happens, we want you all to come and work with us and make it happen." So we are definitely running under that. It will be the United Century Front will be the name of the party. They will change that. And we will share the symbol very, very shortly. The moment the presidential election is over, our campaign begins nationwide, and people no longer have an excuse. They have an opportunity to invest in a new political culture.
All right. Time for a break. We'll come back with our final segment. Do stick around. This day to come. Our title partners, Crystal Luxury Wellness, joins us on Date with DANU. You can now enjoy some amazing services down at Crystal Clinic, if not at their villa or at One Golf. Now, something that you can really work towards is the fact that if you're planning on getting married and you want to look and feel your best, they have something called the bridal packages, giving you such a range for you to choose from, and also personalized care until you walk down that aisle. So more details available when you do visit them. If not, check out their social handles for more details. Welcome back to the show. Now, there are some candidates who have been speaking about a smart Sri Lanka, a very progressive Sri Lanka, and also a Sri Lanka that's going to use everything that is latest, modern, and that the world is using currently. But the people who they are speaking to are not exactly in a position to even get themselves a phone card that could connect their mobile phone for uninterrupted communication. Because that's the type of people, majority, they're struggling. So, do you think this smart Sri Lanka could be implemented if there's a huge generation gap?
So I think there are a lot of phases come in, and they try to throw things into a manifesto and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But
We didn't even get free internet.
So
we're
all
supposed
these
to have it at
promises-
Golf Ace Green.
Exactly. So people have been waiting for so long. So after a while, you ask these questions: can they actually deliver? Are these just promises? Do they have? So the easy thing is, who's the team? What's the infrastructure? What's the timeline? How is it going to work? Ask the questions. Don't just believe it.
Do you think you can deliver?
That's what I believe. That's the difference. Is if we are making a promise, we want to show you exactly how we will get it done. And Sri Lankans have incredible capacities. Sri Lankans at home and abroad, who are just looking for an honest outfit to implement. There are so much Sri Lankans who want to invest in Sri Lanka. Like when I was in the US, we did a tour. We have chapters now across the world with Sri Lankan communities. And many of them said, "Son, we wanted to invest in the country. We love our country, but there's so much corruption. It takes so long to start a business. They ask for bribes. We got sick of it." I started hearing this all the time. So I created a file at the end of the room and said, anyone who's had a bad experience in Sri Lanka trying to invest and you couldn't, just tell your story and say how much you try to invest. Just be talking to 1,000 Sri Lankans in about 7 cities. That number came to $330 million of investments from Sri Lankans who couldn't make it because of the corruption, because of the system right now. So those kinds of people can come invest in this country and transform it collectively. But they don't want to when these corrupt individuals are there. People who are corrupt, they can share all the vision they want. But the corruption is like a cancer that eats away at good vision, eats away at good potential. And so we need a clean slate, truly clean slate. Not people who've been around for 40, 50 years, have been violent, all of a sudden saying they're the clean slate. No, they're not. So I believe we can, if you have the right people. And it has to be a meritocracy. It's not a person-driven. Whoever is capable and competent need to be given the freedom to lead and to serve the country. And now these parties allow that. You may be the best at a profession. You'll go to one of these established parties. You'll have to wait in line because there are so many more people who are senior than you, not more competent than you, who've been around in politics. And by the time it's your time to serve, the country has moved on. And most of the time, these guys are playing catch up to the rest of the region without seeing where the world is heading and coming up with vision and policy for that. And I think that's where we're better established. Please go to our website and read more about our policies. You'll actually see that there is a clear vision and a clear strategy. We're not talking about taking debt to survive. We're talking about growth and development and industry and infrastructure, looking at AI, looking not just saying words, but saying what's the strategy for that. Talking about we're calling it Operation Reverse Brain Drain. We have a strategy of how do we bring the best and brightest of Sri Lankans abroad, come back, bring the investments back, create an ease of entry back, starting businesses in 2 days and being able to really benefit from your investment and the risk in a society that thrives. It can be done, it will be done, we're not giving up. We've sacrificed things in our lives not to play around here. We're not going to compromise, we're going to go our own path, and we want to deliver, and we're giving the next 20 years of our life for that.
In terms of Sri Lanka and its future, we have seen the type of people who we have to work with, and especially soon after this presidential election, we are going into a general election. You said that you all are going to contest island-wide. The type of candidates who have come forward, they do have a career path right now, and this is a huge risk that they're taking. How confident are you that this gamble that you all are going to take with a very unstable setup that will guarantee a good future not only for the country but also for them to come forward and serve?
I think it's not a gamble. I mean, I'm sure so many of educated people are watching this program as well, and every single Sri Lankan, 22 million of them want a change. They are educated, they want it, so go for it. Go for it. We talk about it, but when every general election comes, we do the stupidest thing of voting for the wrong people, and we have got those idiots sitting there, sorry for the language, right, in the parliament. So if you want to change, the next general election would be the best choice. So go for it, and also support these people who are having a clear vision and who are pretty clean at the moment. They are honest, and support them and go for the change, because we only talk, we don't perform. And don't just sit there and criticize. Join the group and support them and make sure that we realize our dreams, because I am here for this also, not for political gains, because this is not my time, this is for their time. But this country, we are eternally hopeful. I am a very positive person. This is a fantastic country, and whatever happens, we can revert back in a few years if we are honest, if we are hard. Everybody is lethargic, DANU, everybody is selfish. They just want to serve their time, and they talk big but they don't perform. So please come, join the team and appoint these people, because they are going to represent every district. Appoint them and make the change. Let the honest and the educated people go there and monitor them and keep them on the check. Make sure that they deliver what they promised. As simple as that.
And DANU, I think the fact of the matter is that there is no guarantees in this. And you need to have a real personal conviction and wanting to serve and to make Sri Lanka a better place. And I think if that's not there, it's not going to be possible, because you need that, you need hope, and you need to, at least for me, it's look back in 25 years and know that, okay, I at least tried. And there's no guarantees. It could go either way, but what are you going to regret less when you're retiring?
Danu, we have what we inherited, we can't do anything about it. But what we leave behind for our children, yes, we are entirely responsible. And so we're in our late 30s, early 40s, most of our team, and we're saying 20 years, let's give it everything we have so that our children can be proud, and they'll also know that we didn't just complain and just talk what was wrong with the system. Neither are we packing up and leaving, and some of our people are saying, why are you suffering? You all just take your team, get out of this country and live a good life. My responsibility is not only to my children, but I have a responsibility to my children's generation. So many children are suffering in this country. Poverty has doubled just in the last 2 years. So much of children in malnutrition across this country. We can do better. Sri Lanka deserves better. And that's why I'm saying start stepping up. If you want to lead, if you want to serve, you have the right heart, you have the 4 C's we talked about, we'll give you nominations. You can run for office. Here's a clean party. You're not making a compromise here. Will it work? We don't know. Our thing is transform Sri Lanka or die trying. And we're going to give it everything we have.
Right. Well, we had dates open for parties to come and bring their thoughts, their views, and their representation onto this show. And we have had a few parties who have taken up the time to have this conversation. And this is the new one that's making waves, and we wanted to give everyone an equal chance. On that note, thank you so very much for being here, and I wish everyone all the very best. And thank you, Nayana, as always, for being here. On that note, we need to wrap things up. So let's work towards the right, and this is our chance to actually make that decision. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us.